All right. Well, I think that is it this week for our scouting report. That's all the
Yeah.
big news that we want to talk about, which brings us to our game pitch. And so this week you are pitching us a game, Eli. So I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, so I wanted to pitch you a game. It's if I had the keys to Nintendo, this would essentially just be a Zelda game, and in the style of Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time, there's kind of an open world, and it's a game where you run around the world, discover dungeons, beat them. I've
Okay.
never seen a game do this, and maybe I'm ignorant and I don't know of a game that does this, but the entire concept of the game would be based around time. So the order that you do the dungeons in a very Mega Man way would be open from the get go. You start at your center kingdom and you can go one of 8 directions. The choices that you make kind of affect the game. So let's say there's this Mount Doom and there's a dragon in it. But if you decide to tackle that as the 6th dungeon, that dragon's going to be bigger. If you do it as the 1st dungeon, that dragon's a little baby. You can knock him the crap out.
Okay.
But so this is the same concept across the game. So if you go to the jungle or the forest temple, there will be more overgrowth because you've taken longer to get there to stop the forest spirits. So it's harder to battle that temple. If you go to maybe the sand temple last, it's completely filled up with sand. You can't even get the item or do that temple. So having not necessarily everything on a timer like Majora's Mask, but basically once you actually beat the dungeon, the rest of the dungeons in the world hit their next level of time. So the growth hits level 2 in the forest temple after you've beaten the 1st dungeon, and the bosses get a little bit extra health, they get more powers. Let's say you've knocked out 2 of the dungeons so far, so each boss for the rest of the world hits phase 2, so their health doubles, they get access to a new attack, stuff like that. But I've always had this idea in my head that it'd be so cool that, like, if you went to the sand temple and the sand had filled the temple, and it filled it enough so that you could get to a pillar or a platform you couldn't before. And
Yeah.
I've been just obsessed with that idea, or that the overgrowth of the forest temple, the vines grew and you could get to a new area based off the order that you choose to tackle these dungeons. And there's benefits, rewards, and risks to the order that you do everything as well. Water temple, the same. Maybe it's slowly drying up because the world is getting more chaotic and there's more heat. So then, maybe it's like global warming, the water's drying up. But if it wasn't a Zelda game, I would call this game Hourglass, and it's all about dungeons and replayability.
I like it. So, in the spirit of the timing and everything, does it like help or hurt like a speedrunner? Like the concept and the core mechanics of the game, like if I'm a speedrunner, like is it going to be something that if I'm just trying to knock them out super, super quick, like it's going to be easy for me because I'm not like necessarily following this timing mechanic the same way? Or like would it hurt me to be like, oh, I'm going to try and knock these out, like, oh wait, I'm actually not even completing the game 100% because I can't? Like,
yeah, I've kind of thought of that. So there might be a way to do like 25% of like 3 of the dungeons and then go knock out the 4th dungeon to then hit everything to its next level of time growth, essentially.
okay,
That might be a mechanic that would be in the game, but you're right, it would be kind of hard for a speedrunner. And I think the way that you would kind of stop them from taking advantage of the system is that, like, once they grab the item from that dungeon or defeat the boss from that dungeon, that's what triggers every other dungeon to hit its next level of growth or its next phase of story, essentially. So like basically once one of the dungeons is taken off the map, it's like a ripple effect that affects all the other dungeons, and something happens to those. They grow, they diminish, they maybe even get sealed off. Or that dragon boss, like I said, he hits the next level and he goes from like full baby Drogon to like full like destroying King's Landing Drogon.
Okay, I like it.
That's Hourglass.
Don't ever underestimate speedrunners. People are speedrunning Ring Fit Adventure on the Switch. So I mean, anything.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So don't underestimate them. Like there's the potential there. They can do it. So
wow, I didn't know that.
I like it though. I like that. Thank you. That's a good pitch. I definitely like the concept a lot because it's dungeon puzzlers. Who doesn't like that? That's amazing. So
yeah.